What's going on, guys? This is a quick overview of the Witcher adventure game by Fantasy Flight Games. So, the Witcher adventure game takes place in the same sort of universe as the video game of the same name. You see here we've got the board, you get your victory tracker here, you've got your war track here, your overall game board here, and your characters here. And here. Okay, where is it? And just about there. Okay, so for this playthrough of The Witcher, we're going to be playing as Dandelion and Geralt of Riviera. So, The Witcher, as The Witcher's game takes place on this board, each player, for 2 players onwards, takes a character, in this case Geralt and Dandelion, choose an adventure, go between these zones, fighting bad guys, collecting clues, and basically the objective of the game is to either reach 80 victory points or complete 3 adventures or 3 quests. So pretty standard setup. We have the rule reference guide, which is your beefy, quite a meaty, chunky booklet there. And you've got your how to play, learn to play guide, which is very thin, very narrow, and this just describes sort of in a sort of high level how to go through each of the stages of the game, play the game, and winning the game, which is everyone's ultimate goal. Okay, so to start the game, what we do is we have each character has a colour. So in Dandelion it's purple, Geralt is red. So each player at the start of each game takes 2 objective markers, 2 quests. These are played face up, so they don't need to be secret. So we have brother against brother, and we have we are the people of Oxenfurt. Each quest has a certain number of main quests, side quests, support quests, and the consequences thereof. And each has a victory point associated with that quest. Okay, so these, we take 2, we choose 1 and discard the other. So, we are the people of Oxenfurt, gives us a grand total of 8. The main quest of this, brother against brother, gives us 16, plus a total of 3 and 3, so that's 16, plus 6 is 22. 22 altogether. So I think without even reading this one, we're going to go for this one. We're going to go and do this one. So we discard this one. We don't want this one. So this one gets discarded for the game. This is Geralt's main quest. No, I apologise. This isn't Geralt's main quest. This is Dandelion's main quest. Is to get these. Now you'll see in the quest, there's these tokens here. Very, this camera's not the best. They have a sword and a diplomacy tracker. At the bottom of the quest marker, it tells you your character card. It tells you what it is you need to get these. So in order to get the sword, we must get 7 clue tokens for this. And in order for diplomacy, we get 3 purples. So this guy, his main objective is to find 7 reds, 3 purples. So now we'll go into Geralt. So you'll find a lot of the time each character has a sort of certain trait and a certain attribute. So this guy's diplomatic, he's diplomacy. Geralt is red, his is red. And you'll see there, he's a combat. So we take 2 combat quests and we choose one. So we're 16 and 12. So Geralt's got to get either 1 diplomacy and 1 sword, or 1 spell and 1 sword. And if you look at his conversion, to get a sword, he must get 3 clue tokens that are red, and diplomacy is 7 purple. So it's quite a challenge for the diplomacy. But because it's 16 and we have 3 and 3, very much like Dandelion's, this will be Geralt's quest. Okay, so we discard these 2 for the game, and we'll start off. So each character in the game, as you can see, has their own character card, I've mentioned. They have a starting location and a starting gold. So Geralt gets 3 gold, and he starts in Caer Morhen. So if we take him up to Caer Morhen, see there's Geralt there, waiting patiently. Dandelion starting as Oxenfurt. So Oxenfurt is Dandelion's main location, so we'll find him. And we'll find Oxenfurt, and he's there. So, start the game. Clean start. Okay, so we have all the draw piles. You have your monsters, your sort of clue tokens, gold, all your general pickups, and your investigation cards are here. So, I can move these out the road. These quest cards at the moment, we don't need them until we've completed this quest. So, now we've got steps of the game. Let's get started. So in each turn, the players can do 3 things. They can take 2 actions, as can be seen here. So they have an option: travelling, investigate, develop. This one here is quite important. This brew is different for every character. This is a character's sort of special ability. So this brew here, place 1 common item, or common token on each of your potion development cards. As you can see, there's no development cards as of yet. So there's no point doing the brew action on the first turn. Quite cleverly, these tokens here, how many turns you have, or how many actions you still have to do, plus your free actions, which are operations. So for the first turn, Geralt, looking at his main quest, has to get to Ard Carré, which is literally, if you look, he's here. It's 1 away from the starting location. However, still needs to complete, he needs to go to this location with these items. Okay, so in order to get these items, so we'll go for the purple, 7 purples, so that's quite important to get this. So we'll now travel. So we'll travel Geralt, we'll move to here, place the action marker as complete on there, and receive the purple. So I've got these draw piles. So he receives a purple marker and places it in his token. Now you'll see from Ard Carré there is the option. So this is an option. The line between is this or this. So this is this or this colour. So you choose which colour, not both. In some places like this one, you get both. So you get red and purple, so maybe Geralt would be a good idea for Geralt to get here because he needs both of these. So he's now moved, we've done this. So let's try investigating just to show you guys how this goes. So we'll investigate, we'll cover the investigation marker. We then have a choice of 3 investigation piles. We have diplomacy, combat, and spells. So I think it's best, we'll try for a diplomacy, see what happens, okay. So, diplomacy. So, dark secrets is what we have. And it reads, because the camera's not very good, the thoughts of what you just did makes you sick, but there's no going back now. You may suffer 1 threat to keep this for its trait. If you do not, receive 1 purple and discard this card. So, this is an option. You may suffer 1 threat. It's not a threat, my apologies. 1 full fate to keep this card, and the trait is valuable information which can come in handy later on with other cards. So we have the option. We could do that, or we could collect 1 purple and discard it altogether. I think we're going to keep this. So Geralt's going to keep this, and that's his turn over. So he's performed 2 actions. These 2 are covered, but now we're on white, or is that white? Yeah, it's white. So white here means we need to resolve an obstacle. So the obstacle we'll choose to, well, the obstacle we need to do is the colour corresponding and that. So we'll flip the monster card that was here over and bring it down here. So we're fighting a mecha. So monsters go in silver, bronze, gold. Bronze being relatively easy, silver being difficult, gold being very hard. So this monster, as you can see, this monster has a sword icon and a shield icon. So we resolve these 2 in order of this, and we can't really read this again, but But what it says is, if you successfully attack this, you receive 1 gold. If you fail the attack, you place 1 silver monster in this region. So what that would mean is if we fail this attack, this goes back here, underneath that, we put it there. So all monster tokens are always face down unless the action says otherwise. So, combat, here's the fun part of the game. So combat is these die here, are your combat die. Geralt, because he's a special character, gets 3 special die. Each of these special die has a unique icon on there. So you'll see here, so the standard die has shield, attack, and where I can find that, shield and attack. Okay, so shield and attack die. Then you get your special character cards. So this is the Witcher sign, which is your character's special card. My apologies, that's not the Witcher sign. That's the Witcher sign there. So the hand, this is your Witcher sign. That's another special which is buffed by your other cards. And then we have the special ability he has here is the double swords. So there's 2 swords, so that counts for 2. So in order to defeat the Necker, to defeat this Necker we need to get 2 swords, at least 2 or above swords, and in order to defend it we must have 2 or more shields. So we'll go ahead and we'll roll that and resolve. Okay, so we've successfully beat him. We have 2. We only have, however, 1 shield. So interestingly, if we fail the attack, the defence, so he dies anyway, by default he's dead, it goes to the discard pile. We successfully killed him, we then receive 1 gold for killing him. So we receive 1 gold, place that in the character card, so now he has 4 gold. But if you remember, he received the damage. So he received damage for getting hit from the monster, because the monster obviously kicked back. So we'll then go to the monster. So these cards, these damage tokens, have a normal, standard damage, and critical damage. Standard, critical. So we received 1. So you must choose where to place this on your character row. And when this is in play, you need to then rest to get this rid of. So I think at the moment we'll put it on brew, because Geralt has no potions to use anyway. And that's his turn over. That's the turn. So that's the turn order. You take 2 actions. You can choose as many operations as you like. We'll come to that later. And then you resolve an obstacle. So now it's Dandelion's turn. So Dandelion, in order to get his quest complete, needs 1 sword and 1 diplomacy. There is multiple side quests and support quests, but we'll focus on this main quest just now. So his main quest is to find the feuding commanders and bring them to an understanding. So he needs to be in Brooklyn, and he needs to have a sword and a diplomacy. So Brooklyn, he is in Oxenfurt. And Brooklyn, if I can find it, is again very close to where he starts. It's here. So it's only 1, 2 moves. But bearing in mind he needs to collect a lot of things before then. So Dandelion needs to get 1 sword, which costs him 7 red, and 1 diplomacy, which costs him 3. Now this is because his character's purple, so you'll see there's a lot of buffs, whereas Geralt needs very little to get a sword, a lot to get diplomacy, whereas Dandelion needs very little to get diplomacy, but a very high amount to get damage, to get swords, because combat isn't his thing, so that's not his forte. So we need to find 7 reds. So quite simply, we will move to Novigrad. So we move to Novigrad, that's called a travel, so we'll then upgrade his travel, which is here. So he's travelled, so he's covered the token there. He's in the red zone, so I either get, this is or the other. So you receive blue, red, or purple. Really, purples are quite easy to come by for this guy because he's diplomatic. So we'll probably go for the red. So we take his red token, place it on his character marker and indicate he's got 1 red, and then we have multiple actions to do. So he can sing to receive gold, because he's a bard, obviously. So he can sing to get gold because he starts with only 1. But at this moment in time, I don't think gold's really the most important thing. So what we'll do is we'll choose to develop. So develop's a quite interesting little technique in this game. And the develop cards, basically what that means is, Dandelion can then draw 2 from the development deck. 1 and 2. So he's received 2. And as you'll see at the top there, one's a spell and one's a friend. It's very different, but I'll read them out to you. So the epic skill. So, Epic Ballad is a skill. When another hero in your region defeats a gold monster, the bard receives 2 victory points. So imagine it's because he sings the tale, so he also gets victory for it. And then you have a friend token. So the friend token is when you spend 1 gold, which we have basically unlimited supply of gold, remember, because we can do the singing, and that receives 2 gold every turn. We can only do 1 action per turn, hence why we cover them up, but you can still get 2 gold every turn for free. And if he spends 1 gold, he can place 1 common marker on this, and during battle he may spend this common marker to produce 1 attack for free. So at the moment in time, because he's quite a low sort of attack character, you'll keep the friend who can help him in battle, help him give him a fight. So here we are, we've developed and we've travelled, so now we're finished. Turn's over, but we need to obviously resolve a red obstacle. So if we go to the red, you see this is the obstacle here. We'll flip this over and resolve this. So this has a special action, and that is, it says before rolling, spend 1 coin, because what you're fighting here is a, if you can see that, it's a brigand, or a rogue, sorry. So this guy's a rogue. Can't really see it very well, but the rogue has got 3 attack and no defence. No defence at all, so you have no counter. So basically, this guy can't really hurt you back. You can give him a good thumping, but he can't thump you back. The only thing is, he takes 1 gold off you, and if you don't kill him, you don't get that gold back. Because if you finish, if you kill this guy, you receive 1 gold, otherwise you receive nothing. So, just like the last time, we'll roll these die, and we're totally unlucky this time. Absolutely wholly unlucky, because if you look at the die, and as I mentioned, this guy isn't really suited to combat. You know, 1 shield and 1. We needed 3 to beat the thief or the rogue. So we failed this event. This has failed. So if we fail, not only do we lose that gold, but we also receive one bad luck token. So this is the token here, and this token, rather than going on the track, comes to the character card, and you'll see that there's a damage indicator. And this. So what we do is we put this on top of one of the tracks here. So this time we'll put it on sing, because at the moment we don't really need gold. We do need gold, so actually we won't do that. We'll put it on rest. And what that means is the next time the character comes to rest, puts an action marker here, he then immediately flips a foul fate token. So he undertakes a foul fate token, and bad things happen. So we'll see that happen. So that is still alive. It's still active. We didn't kill him. So he was in red. So he remains face up in red. Okay, so we'll go back to Geralt's turn. So Geralt's now got 1 damage, if you remember for the last turn. He received 1 damage. These actions have been reset, remember? Okay, so he's reset that. He's reset this back to nothing. We're going to collect purple. So from where Geralt is, you get quite a good purple track to go on. We can go to there. Or Vergenberg. Backtrack a little, we can't, but it's in our best interests to get to there, because from there there's plentiful routes of purple all the way along to the 1-on-1. So we have an option in the turn where we can forfeit 1 action and take 2 moves. If we take 2 moves, we then have to turn over a full fate token and do an obstacle. So at this time in the game, the character's not very well developed. I think we'll leave him as is, and we'll just move to the purple zone. And as you'll see there, we get a blue token for succeeding in that investigation. So we've received a blue. Now, this isn't really beneficial for anyone, in fact, in this game. I suppose if there's any side quests, we need 2 purples for these side quests and spend it another. All his support quests are purple. Okay, so at the moment, for Geralt, we've travelled. Now I think what we'll do is we'll develop Geralt as well. So we'll take this to get him ready for the fight ahead, and we'll develop So develop again means you draw 2 for the special character deck. Again, quite a hard thing to read. But it's 2 potions. I don't know if he's going to read that, okay? But the one's Brock's potion and one's Zugel's Vigour. So, what one does is one, at the start of the battle you can spend 1 common item from this card and reroll any number of battle dice. And this one, they're both exactly, well this is battle dice and this is hero dice. There's a very big distinction because this is your hero dice, excluding the purple one. These are your battle dice. So, from the very, it's quite a tough decision to make because you can only choose one hero dice during the battle. See, I think we'll take this one. This one's good for later on when we further develop the character because there's other cards in here which require special icons from your hero die. So we'll take that one, we'll discard this one, and we'll carry on. So again, we need to resolve purple. Purple's up here. So purple is a Nilfgaardian, or a Nilfgaardian, my apologies, a Nilfgaardian, okay, there we go, Nilfgaardian. Some bad guy, come out the bushes, he's going to give us a tanking. So in order to kill this guy, before there we go, so this is interesting. Before rolling on this attack, we need to advance the war track. Now we haven't covered the war track at this point, but now it's a good opportunity. So we put this guy, purple, he's here, okay? Advance the war track, and the war track says bronze. Okay, so bronze means you take another bronze monster, put it on purple, and put this on top. At least that's my understanding of the rules. If I'm wrong, then you know, that's fine. So, the Nilfgaardian has 3 attack, so we must get 3 swords to defeat him, and we must roll 2 shields to defend against him. If we succeed, we get a victory point. If we fail, we suffer another damage. And quite frankly, we don't really want to suffer much damage at this stage of the game. It's quite early, and we quite frankly don't want to get too much of a beating. So, we'll roll a 6 die. Okay, and my hesitation there probably wasn't good. So we've successfully defended against them, because we've got 2 shields. 2 and above is a success. However, we have no way of re-rolling the die at this point, and we successfully damaged them. No, we didn't damage them at all, in fact. Okay, so we successfully defended against him, so we don't suffer any ill effects. However, he doesn't die. So this character then goes back onto the purple track. So there can be as many monsters on this purple track as necessary. And I'm not entirely sure if, when there's more than one, you must resolve them all, or you can just do one. Feel free to correct if that's the case. So, these go back, these sit in a common location, and we go back to Dandelion. Okay guys, so that's kind of the first couple of turns of the game. I kind of covered a lot of the mechanics of the game. Sorry for the bad camera, it's not the best. But basically that's it. I mean, in a nutshell, you're basically, this game is you're looking at the map, you're looking at all the purple, you're looking at these purple, you're trying to figure out the best route to go in order to obviously try and get all the investigation tokens. And what happens in turn is you'll receive, so what I was saying earlier, is you get 3 reds and you can exchange them for 1 of these. Now this one of these corresponds to that, which in turn corresponds to this. So the operations on your turn basically mean you can complete any quest, any side quest, or any support quest. Now we didn't cover support quests, but what I'll say is the support quest is when you're playing with 2 players, and myself obviously, but when you're playing with 2 players, another player can perform the support quest for you. So, the other player spends 3 purples. What's the advantage of that? Well, the advantage of the other player helping you is, you'll see that we can't see, but at the bottom here, there's 3 victory points for the person who gets but the other player in brackets gets 6. So, if for example Dandelion was to help Geralt in the support quest, he receives 6 victory points. Each support quest is worth another 3, so that's 6 in total, which in 16 is 22 if you manage to do them all. The game continues like this until one player has reached all the way up there to 80, or if the player has resolved 3 quest cards. At least I think the idea of the game is the player can only do 3 quest cards and then turn them over once you've done it, turn another one on top and continue, and I think it's up to 3. So after 3 you can't draw any more support cards, and I don't know if that's the game over because I've never quite got there, because I played this myself, me, last night, and I got wiped out the game was very nasty, very, very nasty. It seems a very simple, straight up game until you start pushing your luck with these cards here. These cards here are the adventure deck. You draw these and hope for things that are good. See if I can't find one. But what you'll find in some of them is there's ironically I can't find any now that I'm trying to show you guys, but there is setback cards. Okay, can't find any at the moment. There's setback cards, and the setback cards have negative impacts on your character. For example, add a damage to one of your tokens, or each player takes a full luck token, or place a full luck token in each of these, and if there's no space on any of these, each player must take one of them. So if it fills this space, but this space here, as you can see, is full, there's one already there, it falls onto the players. Yep, and basically that's it. I mean, you draw these full fake cards. I'll show you because we never got a chance, thankfully, to show you these. But for example, here we are, you turn this over, when you go to a certain region where there is no monsters, you need to use one of these, and this is bushwhacked. So you haven't even travelled out of sight of town when some men appear before you. Time to choose if you're going to give up what you know or fight your way forward. So you can either spend 2 of your clues that you've gained, and bearing in mind these clues are in exchange for the actual quest, or you can perform a fight. If you fight, you lose 2 anyway and become delayed. So it's a kind of push your luck there. Try fighting these guys, or they spend. You're going to lose 2 anyway. If you get delayed, what it means is your character lies down, and rather than getting 2 actions the next time, they get one action spent standing up. That's an action, and then the next action is moving on to the next place. So it seems really easy. It's quite slow to begin with. It feels quite dry, but once you start going for these points and going for the victory and trying to collect, the correct amount of tokens to order to convert them into these victory conditions, and you start investigating and pushing your luck. It's very much pushing your luck with these cards, because you might turn one over that's really good, fantastic, or it's going to be, bad luck, and it's going to go up here, and you're going to have to resolve one of these. And like I say, it's all about tactics as well. Deciding when to, knowing when to, buff your character with these cards, or when to brew potions to put the markers needed to spend these cards on them. It's very much a fantastic game, and it is, as I say, it is cooperative with the support cards, but it is very much the first person to the end, or the first person, or the highest playing up the victory track, who will win the game. So there is cooperativeness in it. You can hand potions and you can hand exchange items with people, but at the same time, you are trying ultimately to get to the end. Your character doesn't die, okay, but like I said before, if you take damage, it means that if you take damage in all these tracks, there's nothing you can do but heal, and you can heal up to 2 of these standard tokens, or if it's one of these, up to 1 of these. So it's very important to keep managing your character's health. Even though you don't die, it very much restricts the whole game, and the other player maybe staying out the action, staying out the fighting a lot, and he's just collecting all these tokens and getting very, very lucky, and you're getting really, really, and that's what happens. So it's a fantastic game. Give it a try. I hope this video has been informative enough for you, and thanks very much.